go to Proverbs. And if you read Proverbs 1 verse 1, it goes like this: the Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel. So over all of this time, we've been talking about King Saul, then about King David, and now about King Solomon. And I think if we just consider all of the stuff that happened in their lives and the fact that God anointed them to do and be what we now read about in the scriptures, I think there's something that we can learn. I mean, besides the fact that God anointed these words for our benefit, I think there's some good things for us to learn. So let's get to it. Verse 2 in the New King James Version. To know wisdom and instruction, these are the reason the Proverbs have been written. We could say this is the knowledge of God coming to us, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, to give prudence to the simple. To the young man, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear and increase learning. And a man of understanding will attain wise counsel. To understand a proverb and an enigma, the words of the wise and their riddles. How many people think that life is a big riddle or life is a big enigma? Well, God is saying here, if you understand wisdom, you get wisdom, you understand the things, the sayings of God, then life's riddles and enigma, you will get understanding of them. They will not be that to you anymore. And the next verse 7 is the key verse to me. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. It's so amazing to me that in our modern day world that we live in, people have a lot to say about, as we read in the book of Ecclesiastes, people have got a lot to say when they come into the house of the Lord. They've got many words, many opinions, many thoughts about the house of the Lord. And so they don't keep their ears open and their mouth shut. On the contrary, most people that go to church have got lots to say about what goes on in church. A lot. That's not a good thing. Here, the scripture says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Again, it's an amazing thing to me that people are so willing to go and find out knowledge from all kinds of sources. They want to go and find out about financial knowledge and legal knowledge and medical knowledge. And hey, as I've tried to say to you many times, knowledge is not a bad thing. Knowledge is useful. I mean, people will say the best thing you can give your child in life is a good education. In other words, they're saying the best thing you could give your child is knowledge. Well, this scripture says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So yes, I understand there are different levels of knowledge. The one is just basic living know-how, and the other is the substance of life. Well, isn't it interesting that we want to spend a lot of money, we want to spend a lot of our goals, a lot of our focus, a lot of our energy, a lot of our money, so much of what we gear towards our future is the accumulation of knowledge, information, knowledge. I mean, if you go to school and you learn how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can add and you can multiply and you can, what's your 3 times 3? Oh, that's 9. I mean, if you have a multiplication, division, and you learn those things, I mean, just knowing that that's just information. When it becomes valuable is when you can apply it to life, circumstances of life. Well, so knowledge, we will all understand and recognize that knowledge is important. But isn't it amazing that God says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge? And so with all of the information and knowledge that we get, we kind of think, well, if we just give a little bit of time, just a little bit of time to learning the fear of God, that's enough. In other words, let's have a prayer in the morning together as a family. Let's read a scripture, and then that'll give us enough fear of the Lord. Because Actually, our day's got to be so busy, full of activity, so much learning, so much stuff. Don't you think our priorities are a bit in the wrong place? Now, what we want to do on top of that is we want to throw a big dream for your life. And normally that big dream is I must get more knowledge. I must have the highest level of knowledge so I can use that knowledge to get a whole level of wealth and a whole level of substance in my life. Meanwhile, God says actually the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Let's dream dreams based on the fear of the Lord rather than on the knowledge we think is important. I'll see you in the next one.